little ears of corn. You got cute little ears. You guys have got some cute little ears. Yes, you do. They're just sticking out. Not like my big old ears. You guys got cute little ears.
All right, guys, so what are we doing today? Let me talk to you a little bit about what's going on. I got the helmet on because it is a little windy today, and I have this mic set up for kind of windy conditions. So I'm going to talk to you through this. That way we don't have a lot of wind noise in the background. But what we're getting ready to do is we're going to take this up today, and we're going to take this up today, and we're going to do a little comparison about the two. Guys, I'm not going super in-depth with it, and we're not going to talk about horsepower and weight and things like that, which are all a factor. What I do want to talk to you about is how you hook it up. How hard is it to launch compared this to this? Which one's right for me? Maybe I can help you out with that. I do fly both, and I do have a favorite, and we'll talk about that at the end. But if you want, like I said, it's midday right now, so it's pretty thermally, pretty windy. But we're going to get this stuff set up, and I'll kind of walk you through some of the similarities and some of the differences, and then we'll take them both in the air, and we'll give it a flight, and we'll talk about it up there some. But I just thought you might want to come along, and it should be a good time, and I'd appreciate you hanging out with me today. Anyway, let's get to it. Let's do the thing, guys. Let's have some fun today. All right. So something I still like to do, no matter what I'm flying, whether it's be the Trike launch or the foot launch machine, I always inspect my wing. I like to maybe kite it up a little bit, take a look at the lines, make sure everything looks good. Today, we're going to use the Roadster. It's a Roadster 2. It's a 30-meter, and it's good for both foot launch and Trike launch. Normally, I fly a Sirocco 2 on my foot launch, but I think today we're going to use the same wing so we can kind of have a fair type of comparison here. But I'm going to kite it up and just kind of check it out, give it a good inspection, make sure it's good to go tonight. So here's the issue today. It is midday. I'm watching my flag over there, and it's 1 minute it's going this way, next minute it's going that way. So which tells me there's a whole lot of thermals happening today, and they're kind of working their way through here. So it's going to be a difficult kiting type of day just because of the switchy wind back and forth, but we're still going to pull it up and take a look at it and maybe play a little bit with it. Which way you coming from, wind? All right, she looks pretty good. Build the wall. Oh, now she just, look how limp it went. Oh, I hate it when it goes limp. Fly, Ozone. Yeah, hi there. Oh, there's a little switch. Put her back down, pull it back up. Man, the lines all look good. Nothing looks crossed. Basically, all we're doing right now is just looking through the lines, making sure they look good. Oh, boy. Fat boy getting a workout today. Come up here. Woo! Woohoo! Woo! Anyway, we're accomplishing exactly what I want to do. I want to give the wing a good look, and I want to make sure the lines are good. And that's exactly what we did. So I'll probably keep playing here for just a little while longer. I'm not going to keep you guys. It's going to get boring for you. Hear me breathing heavy like a fat dude will when he's out here kiting in this kind of wind. So, yeah, I'll do this a couple more times. I'll put her away. And I'll show you some of the differences between the Trike and the foot launch, the old Tornado. Upsy-daisy. Woo! All right, guys, first let's talk about some of the things on the Trike here. So if you look at it, obviously it's a rigid frame, right? And here's the carabiners that you hook the wing to, the risers to. Fuel tank's on top on this one. It's on the bottom of that one. Obviously, this is a 4-blade prop. It's said to be quieter. The Fresh Breeze is supposed to be quieter. I don't know that I agree with that, but it is definitely heavier. I will say that. This one, to buckle in, obviously, there's just one seatbelt, boys. The air conception, on the other hand, look at that, man. Look at all that stuff. It all looks so intimidating, but I promise you, it's not intimidating at all. Matter of fact, if you go back and look at this video, I explain the harness to you. It's not intimidating once you learn where everything goes and how to fit it in and how to adjust it. So don't let that intimidate you as far as whether you want a foot launch or Trike launch. Now, another thing I like about this is this double ring cage, right? So when you take off, sometimes you get a little bit of pressure pushing here, and I like the fact that this is double ring. I haven't had any issues with that. Now, I have seen some videos where these guys, they'll take off with one of these tinier frames, and you get some flex. I think I could probably do it now, maybe. Yeah, you can see that frame flexing. So what happens is sometimes it flexes so much, it'll go back and almost hit the prop and cause some problems. Another thing I want to show you is hookup. So basically, you're going to reach behind here, and you got your risers. And just like any other time, you want your A's on the top, right? Always A's on the top. This little tab facing forward, right? So this is super simple. You open it up, put it in the correct way. Now, something that this has that isn't something you do when you foot launch is this here is an A assist, right? So you're going to actually connect it right to the A's right here. And then when this thing starts to take off, it's going to pull the A's first, right? So the A's will always come up first. And then once it reaches right about in the middle, right about there, you can see how slack this line got right here. So that's good. You sure don't want any pressure on that when you're in the air because it's going to be pulling your A's down. But once you get those A's hooked in, these simply go through this guide right here, and it lays nice and smooth back there. So I'll show you the rest of that this evening when we go to set it up. I'll show you the layout and things like that. Okay, now on the Tornado, right here is your clip-in points. And guys, I want to tell you too, and it can be changed, but quite honestly, I'm very familiar with it and I'm very used to it. The throttle is on the left-hand side on the air conception here, and it is on the right-hand side, and it's a much bigger throttle. Much bigger throttle. Has cruise control and some other things. But, yeah, there are two different sides on this machine. Now, you can absolutely switch those if you want. But honestly, I just kind of got used to doing it this way. My reserve is on the right-hand side. So that way there's nothing impeding my right hand if I want to grab that reserve. But again, you can switch it from left to right, however you want to do it. It's basically the same thing, right? You're going to have your risers. Now, unless you're doing a reverse launch, then there's a whole different technique to that. And we won't get into that today. I think the winds are going to die down enough by the time we get to that we don't have to worry about a reverse launch tonight. But basically the same type of hookup, right? So this is going to go right onto there. It's going to go right here. That way when it rises, the A's are in front. Now, the only difference on this, too, is you have to manually hold these A's. So when you go to take off, you're going to hold these A's instead of having a A assist like this right here do it for you. So that's a huge difference. You got a lot of stuff going on when you're doing the foot launch that you don't have there. But you'll see tonight once we get up in the air or when we launch these. Okay, so I touched on a few of the similarities. I touched on a few of the similarities there and some of the differences between the two machines. And I think that's kind of basic, but please feel free to send me a message down below. Type me in the comments. Ask me anything I missed or anything you're interested in, how important it is to kite. I got to tell you that. I want to stop for just a moment there and tell you, when I had my training, he was under the impression, my trainer was, that I would never want a foot launch, right? And it was a trike launch. Matter of fact, they cut off the straps. Didn't think I'd ever want to foot launch anything. So I was never taught kiting. Kiting is important whether you're foot launching or whether you're trike launching. Wing control, both side to side and pitch, is absolutely important, no matter where you're running with your feet or if those wheels are rolling. You have to control that wing before you take off. The better you get at kiting, the better pilot you will be. I've heard that said many times, and that is absolutely true. You can never get enough kiting. Guys, if you want to hang out, I'm going to go and get some lunch, and then I'm going to come out here and we're going to set this all up and go flying this evening. I hope you stick around and go for a flight with me. Talk to you in a little bit. See ya.
All right, guys, it's about that time. So the winds have almost died down to nothing. There's still a little bit of wind shift back and forth. Got the wing laid out. We're going to take the Tornado up first, and let's do it. Let's get strapped in and get out there, guys. I'll talk to you on the way.
All right, so like I said earlier, guys, the wind out here actually has picked up a little bit since I went in there to grab the machine, so which is always good, especially on foot launch, right? So let's say there's a 5-mile-an-hour wind coming at you. That's 5 mile an hour less that you got to run to get that wing in the air. Yeah, so I got a little bit of wind coming at me this way. And of course, we got tractors in the field, guys. We got my wife right here. She's mowing. I've done both pre-flights on both machines, so they're ready to go. All I got to do is take off, come around. Let me shut this off, guys, while I'm talking to you. All right, so hopefully you guys can see my view here. I got the camera pointed down, and I hope it's running. But as you look down right here, you'll see it almost looks backwards, right? The brakes are facing forward. This is going to be a little bit different than what it is when we're taking up the trike. You don't have these hanging in front of you, but the reason for that is as you look, as the wing starts to come up, it's going to put the brakes right where they're supposed to be, and the A's are going to be in the front. So it may look a little strange, but this is absolutely the correct orientation. All right, I'm going to kind of explain this to you guys while I'm doing this without the motor on before I take off. So one of the last things I'd like to do is I check my straps, make sure everything's good. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I got my chin strap on. 6 and 7, these are both in, and the orientation is good. Now this is where it gets a little weird. Just before takeoff, what I would do, I have the throttle on, everything's going. I'm going to reach down and grab this brake. And I like to tuck it right there. Keep a hold of it, right? I like to keep a hold of it right there. And then you reach, hopefully you can see this, you reach behind your risers and you grab that A. You grab those A's right there. So the reason being, as you lift this up, the A's go into the orientation they need to be in. Now the trick is, as you take off, you're going to pull these A's and you're going to watch that wing. As the wing starts to get overhead, you have to release these A's at just the right moment, right? If you keep a hold of them, you're going to cause a frontal collapse. If you let go of them too soon, it's going to want to fall behind you. And man, this motor's getting heavy. See, this is the part of foot launch. If you take any amount of time to get ready to launch, that's the longer you're holding this weight. And it's roughly, 80 pounds or so with the fuel maybe? So it looks like a lot going on, right? You got a lot of buckles. You got a lot of straps. You got a lot of weight. You're going to have to hold both these A's. You're going to pull them up. You're going to watch for the wing. You got to add power. You got to lean back. You got to put pressure. All that has to happen at once. So you got a lot going on. I promise you it will start to become second nature, especially if you do the kiting. That is important because when that wing comes up, if it's off to the left, you need to step left and pull a little bit of right brake. All right, guys. So remember what I'm looking for. Right now there is hardly any wind, so this is one of the worst type of takeoffs, at least for me, right? When there's no wind, you don't get any kind of help on foot launch. So all I'm doing is getting equal pressure on both sets of these A's. Hopefully that's showing up. Doing one last look at my lines. Everything looks good. Everything looks square. I'm going to line up, take a couple steps back. Now remember, I'm going to pull. I'm going to hold those A's till it gets overhead. I'm going to check for oscillation. I'm going to correct anything I need to correct. I'm going to lean back, add some power, and then I'm going to add pressure to the brakes. And hopefully, if everything goes right, we'll be in the air. You ready, guys? Let's hit it. I'm having power, pressure, and she's up. And guys, first things first, I always like to take a quick look at the lines, make sure there's nothing I missed while I was on the ground, make sure everything looks straight, everything looks good, make sure this is straight, that's straight, the buckles are all good. Watch where you're going, make sure you don't sink too fast. And that's it, the housework is done. Let's go flying. Woohoo! All right, there we got a little bit of elevation, so I can come down off this power a little bit. So like I was saying, guys, it's tough for me to tell you everything I'm doing as it's happening. It's happening in real time. I wasn't directly into the wind. I don't know if you could tell that or not. I was off by maybe, I don't know how many degrees that is. What is that, 10 degrees, 15 degrees? But when I took off and the wing came up, it automatically turned that direction a little bit. Not much. It wasn't a lot. But I had to correct for that. I had to step that way. I had to turn my body. Had to correct it with the brakes. And then I had just a little bit of oscillation forward and back, which meant at the right time I had to pull the brake, stop that oscillation as it was coming forward. Once it was above my head, I started to apply power. I leaned back as hard as I could, applied power, full power, give just a little bit of brake pressure about right here. And during all of that, I was running with 80 pounds on my back. Now, to be fair, once you start running and the wing is above your head, you start applying a little bit of power, you're honestly only holding the power or the weight of this motor for 20 feet, 30 feet maybe. As the wing starts to do its job and starts to lift you, the weight will come up off of your body. Guys, I'm an idiot. If I can do this, so can you. Don't ever think you can't. I love the sporty feel of foot launch. I don't have a cage out in front of me. I don't have these bars. A slalom to the right. Oh, a little right. A slalom to the left. Oh, what the heck? Woo! Man, look at the little rows of corn, man. They're so cute. They're so pretty. I'm going to get down a little lower. Maybe you can see them better. Hi,
My little ears of corn. You got cute little ears. You guys have got some cute little ears. Yes, you do. They're just sticking out. Not like my big old ears. You guys got cute little ears. All right, boys and girls. Let's take this bad boy back home, put her on the ground, and take the trike up for a quick spin. Now, just know, as I go in for a landing on foot launch, it is extremely important to me to know which direction the wind is coming. You got a 5-mile-an-hour headwind. That's 5 mile an hour less that you've got to run. So you always want to land and take off into the wind. That is very important. So what I'm concentrating on here, guys, is just hitting my target the best I can. I want to start applying a little bit of brake just before I get to the ground. I want to make sure I look out in front of me, not down. But I'm going to start applying a little pressure. And as the wing slows down, just before I touch down, I'm going to give it a full flare. That should give me a nice, easy, soft landing. All right, let's line this bad boy up. Here we go. Come down out of my seat. As you can see, I'm dangling. There's the LZ right in front of me. And I'm going to bring her straight into it. A little bit of brake, a lot of flare. Land that dude. Turn and spin. Oh, she's still going to go in front of me. See, not enough brake. All right, let me get out of this here contraption, and we'll hook up the trike, and we'll take her up for a flight. Let's get this big bird in the air. Now, this is a little bit different, right? So we're going to head out yonder. I already got the wing set up again. Heading forward, almost the same type of layout, right? There's not a whole lot of stuff we're going to do different here. You see where I got the risers lying down there? That's where we're going to back this right up into it. But I want to line the front of the trike up with the direction I want to go in. Make sure it's in the right orientation. I've already checked the lines. She gets clicked in, and as we talked earlier, A assist goes right there. I want to pull this wing straight back, and I want to tighten up all of these red lines. I put the center of the wing with the center of the trike. That way it comes up first. When those A assists start to pull on it, it's going to pull it right up where I need it to be. And then I simply work my way down the wing, tighten up all the A's, pretty it up a little bit. Do the same thing to the other side. Tighten the A's, tighten the A's, tighten the A's, all the way down. Let's pretty this up. We're going to do a drawback just a little bit. Just keep it away from that propeller. Same thing on the other side. Pull it up all pretty. Now this time when I take off, the A's are going to do, the A assists are going to do most of the work for me. My primary concern, I'm going to be watching that wing come up as I start to roll on throttle. I'm going to look left, I'm going to look right, and when it looks good and when it's overhead, I'm going to go full power. The A assists are going to do most of the work for me as far as pulling up that wing, so I don't have to worry about that. You ready? Roll on throttle, Barry. Scare Barry in there. Here we go. Hit it. All right, she's under control. Hit it. Full throttle. It's soft. And just like before, I want to do a quick look. Make sure all the lines look good. Everything looks straight. Everything is in proper order and ready to go. Yoo-hoo! We're in the air on track launch. Let me tell you what. That is so much easier, guys. I have no pressure. My legs weren't working. I just watched the wing. Now remember, this is the same wing I was flying with the Tornado. And the climb, I can already tell, is nowhere near as nice as that one. So the climb rate's definitely a little slower. But let me tell you something I do like. Let me stow that brake. Look at this right here. Cruise control, right? I can set that dude and just cruise right here. Especially on nice, calm nights like tonight, this does make it nice. I'll tell you what else makes it really nice. It doesn't take near the amount of effort to launch this thing. Nowhere near. I'm literally sitting here with the seatbelt on, the frame, the A assist, everything's doing all the work. But it does have its drawbacks. Little harder to transport. Now you can take this all apart and you can transport it, but it's a pain in the ass, right? Putting it back together, doing all that kind of stuff. So foot launch equipment, much easier to transport. One of the very nice things about foot launch, and I don't know if you noticed how much longer my takeoff was there, guys.
I was in the air in 20 or 30 feet on my foot launch. This one was almost the entire takeoff field I have. So it takes a little more space, and that's just because the climb rate is so much less. Now, another pro about wheel launch, when I go home to land, I don't have to worry about wind direction. I'm on wheels. I can literally land with the wind and be fine. And there's one more thing I wanted to touch on was weight shift. So as I said before, you see how this is solid. Well, it probably doesn't look that way. I'm shaking the front. But this does not move, right? So that means if I lean, I get a little bit of weight shift authority, but not much. A little bit. It's turning me a little bit. Anyway, I'm sure I droned on. I'm sure I talked a lot. I apologize. And for you guys that stuck around through this whole video, thank you so much. All right, let's land this puppy. We're going to touch down nice and smooth, let the wheels roll, and then I'm going to taxi this baby right on up to the house. That's the plan. Let's hope it works that way. Are we ready? We got a couple of gentlemen down there. Drew and Graham are right in the runway there, but I think they'll be fine once I get where I need to be. And a little flare. Nice and smooth. There we go. Let's bring that dude right on up to the house. Right on up there. So heck yeah, guys. What a great flight. 2 flights tonight. Took off foot launch and on the trike. And I hope you enjoyed it. I really do. I just want to say thank you, guys. I appreciate you watching. I love you. And I'll see you in the skies, guys. Have a good one. Scareberry out.